please. As we get ready to head out here today, we are also asking for the courtesy of those around you. Make sure to keep those face coverings on for us. But we're going to go ahead and we are starting our journey here today right in the little wintry forest. If you are looking to the right, then you've already noticed an okapi hanging out over there. Looks like he decided to get a little fancy for y'all today. He is wearing his zebra pants. But don't let that fool you. Okapis are much more closely related to a giraffe than they are to a zebra. If you're looking to your left, then you're checking out a saddle-billed stork. And you can see he does get his name from a yellow saddle that sits right on his bill. They're a pretty solitary bird, so you're usually never going to see more than one of them at a time. But if you were ever lucky enough to notice two of them hanging out together, you can assume they are in fact together because those birds, they're gonna mate for life. And we are making our way a bit deeper into the forest. We're going to see what other animals we can try to find hanging out here. Unfortunately, a lot of these animals are experiencing deforestation as people are tearing down their homes to make a bunch of different paper products we use. Now, if you switch a lot of your common household products, maybe like toilet paper and paper towels, to reusable products or even bamboo products, it's going to help save a lot of these forests from being torn down, as bamboo can grow over 5 times faster than a tree. So it's going to help save a lot of these animals, just like those bongos to your right there, from losing their homes. As you can probably notice, all the bongos have horns on their head. So both male and female bongos are going to have horns. So they're not super easy to tell apart. If you look up and to your left, you might get a quick peek at a black rhinoceros over there. He's super hard to see. Black rhinos can certainly charge at about 35 miles an hour, which is really impressive considering they're about 3,000 pounds or so. Now they do have a prehensile upper lip. That way they can grasp really easily at any branches or leaves they might want to eat from. And we can usually tell most rhinoceros apart just by their mouth shape. Now we are going to go ahead and leave the forest though, and we're going to make our way right into the Safi River. Safi River is going to be home to a few of Africa's more dangerous animals. Now it looks like on our left side, on that island, we're going to notice some pink-backed pelicans. They get their name from a natural pink color they have on their backs that happens to turn much more vibrant when those pelicans are in mating season. We can also check out a boatload of Nile hippopotamus. Hippos, they are very territorial, and that's what's going to make them so very dangerous. They love to hang out in the water like that. It definitely helps keep them nice and cool throughout their day. And they can stay fully submerged under the water for about as long as 8 minutes at one time. They'd occasionally come out though. They might graze along the banks for some food. Usually around the nighttime though. And hippopotamus, they only eat vegetation. Unlike these Nile crocodiles up here, both male and female crocodiles, they would take the eggs of their babies and they would roll those eggs right in their mouth. So that is just a way to help their babies to hatch. Now, of course, they have to do that really gently, considering a crocodile's jawstring could be so strong, they could pretty easily crush the bones of their prey. Now, crocodiles, they tend to have more of a triangular mouth shape, like it's upside down. But that's just because their branches go leafless for about 9 months out of the year. So it's not actually upside down. We're going to call this spot over here the overlook, as it certainly overlooks the most of the savanna. Now the savanna is home to lots of different types of animals. And every animal on the savanna, they play a really important role in its ecosystem. So these animals, they really work together to help each other survive, whether they kind of realize they're doing that or not. Looks like we can already start to notice a tower of giraffe hanging out over there. Giraffe are, of course, the tallest animal in the world. And just like an okapi, they have really long purple and prehensile tongues. And that's going to help them to reach really high at food, just like those branches and leaves. A giraffe's tongue could be about as long as your longest finger to your elbow, which is so long that they could pretty easily lick their own eyeball if they had the urge to do so. Now the purple color, that's going to help to prevent their tongues from getting a sunburn, as they do spend the majority of their days eating and chewing. And they do have 4 chambers in their stomach after all. To the left, you've already noticed a pack of wild African dogs. And they're also known as wild painted dogs because of their beautifully painted coats. Just like that human fingerprint, every coat of every single dog is going to be different in some way. And they are known as one of the most vicious hunters along the savanna. Now they are kind of related to dogs, as they are a part of the canine family, unlike hyenas, who are not at all related to dogs. Hyenas make up their own family. We can also notice some sable antelope. The sables are the symbol here for the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, as they are a very resilient animal. And these mounds we're moving around are termite mounds. African termites are going to make their mounds as hard as concrete, and they make them using dirt, saliva, and dung. They would chew it all up, and then they'd spit it out, and it makes that really hard concrete-like material. And we've also noticed the Ankoli Cattle on the right side, also commonly known as Watusi cattle. They were first domesticated by the Watusi tribe in Africa. Their horns are incredibly large, but they're also very light. Those horns are pretty hollow on the inside. They have a honeycomb structure running through them, which is going to help the cattle to circulate their blood and help regulate their body temperature. That blood is going to cool down as it travels to the tip of their horns. So when it travels back through their bodies, it's also going to help to cool them down. The little guys on the left, the ones that kind of look like s'mores, those were springboks. They can certainly spring about 6 feet up into the air, or even 13 feet across while running. And that is known as pronking. That also happens to be tall enough and long enough that they could jump right through this safari truck if they really needed to. Now up ahead, we'll notice a herd of wildebeest, also commonly known as nil, because when a wildebeest grunts, it certainly sounds like they are saying nil. They have scent glands by their eyes and on their hooves. And those scent glands are going to help the wildebeest to be able to follow the rest of their herd as they migrate pretty frequently. And we can also notice the dazzle of mountain zebras hanging out with them. And we can tell they're mountain zebras. They have really small hooves that is going to help them to stand on the mountains. Now they also are going to have an extra piece of skin on their neck that only mountain zebras have, and we call that a dewlap. Dewlaps are going to help them to regulate their body temperature. Babies can